All right, y'all. Welcome to Roho Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Majors, and I'm happy to be here. I am happy to be here because today I'm in an interesting place. I am in a place where I'm like, oh, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. You know, when you look through history, look through, you know, life and just the arc of time, there has always been moments of fear, of good and evil, of bad and good. We've never lived in a time where there was just everything was all great. It just wasn't in our face, and we didn't have the technology to understand things that are happening. Most of the things we're seeing today are things, some version of it has happened already, but because we didn't have social media and we did not have, all of these ways to connect, we just didn't know what was happening. I don't think this is anything just like, wow, so different. It's just that we know it. And there's always been a fight between good and evil. There's always been a fight between enslavement and power, power, right, and control. And I think the biggest mistakes and why we're struggling so much is because we honestly convinced ourselves, and we honestly were, I guess, led to believe, I don't know which one it is, that this could never happen to us. Here in the US, this could never happen where we have someone who's unilaterally just doing whatever they want to do to this country. Like, just, it's amazing. We've never seen it. The reason why we're in this place is because the only way to have stopped something like this, whatever this thing is that we're going through, from happening, is to first assume and believe that it could happen. It could happen. But because we never thought it could happen, we didn't consider it, we didn't prepare for it, we didn't have conversations leading up to it. We just assumed that it could never happen. And that is the mistake that we made. And I went to church. And it's so interesting being back in church and listening to the things that I've always kind of known and that are always simple. It makes sense. And it's not like things we don't know, but if you're not constantly in the conversation of purpose, constantly in the conversation of the power and the dominion and the sovereignty and the all the things that God is and all the things that God has given us the power to do in and of ourselves, it's easy to forget and feel hopeless and helpless. And so just this weekend sitting in church, I was like, I forgot. God said, look, when I came here, God said, here's your toolbox. I have packed your toolbox for this lifetime for everything that you need. I have given you free will. That's up and through there. Go look and see. You want some free will? You want some power? You want some peace? You want some joy? Everything that you need. You want some love? Do you need some and for a lot of people, hey, you need the instructions. Here's a Bible. What's Bible? Basic instructions before leaving earth, right? And even if you that's not like if you're that's not you're not aligned with the Christian faith, are you aligned with any kind of faith practice or spiritual practice that starts and ends with love? Starts and ends with love. Call it what you want to call it. Does it start and end with love? Love for yourself, love for people in your family who are unwilling to confront what they need to confront, not just for the healing of the relationship or the family, but for themselves. Part of that or part of thinking through that is what has helped me kind of get back to basics of, okay, wait a minute. I have a free mind. I have a sound mind, free body. I have free will. I lead with love. I end with love and to the best of my ability. I help people when I can. Like all of the things that I do are to make this place better. that gives me some sense of comfort because I see what's happening in my domain. I know what I'm doing. And if we all just picked one or two people, I think I gave an example the other day of just like, if we just, this block, this is my block, this is my love block. Everybody on this block will receive love today, period. These are choices that we can make to turn this thing around. These are choices that we can make to feel some relevance and some sense of importance and some sense, not even importance, but yeah, importance and meaning in our life. I think we all have a desire for the things we do to be meaningful, to make a difference, to stand for something. And a lot of our misery comes because we are not living a life that we feel does that. It's not about, we have jobs and that helps us pay bills. But what we ultimately know is, am I fulfilled? Is the world a better place because I work at this job? And if you can say yes, God bless you. Keep doing it and feel good about it because that's what changes things. That's what gives us hope. You know, there's a guy that I walk in this trail down here in Kent. I walk in this trail and there's a guy that walks down there with his little, those little trash picker upper handle thingies, walks in a plastic bag and just goes for his walk and he just picks up trash along the way. And I asked him, does he get paid? And he was like, nope, for the love of the game. And I was like, whoa. Because he says, I get energized, I get excited that the things that I do bring that look on your face. I did that. I did that. I love it. And it doesn't take these big monumental things for us to be on purpose. It just takes moments of love where you feel connected to all that is and all that is divine and all that is good and loving. And so the reason why I really think we're going to be okay is because for us to be okay is about individual people operating in love. That's doable. That's doable. If we just had a National Love Day where the whole day you just had to treat people with love, just to see what it feels like to move without all that fear and suspicion and all of the things that we move with, it's doable, but we haven't chosen it. We haven't chosen it. So as I think about, how we are going to find some rest in all the chaos, it comes from that sense of connection to love and the divine. Because where there's love, there's no fear, there's no judgment. Where there's love, there's not just this constant vigilance. And I think I've said this before because that's the language of God. That's the language of the divine, love. And, even if you want to look at it selfishly, God sees that and protects that. And so, and also, when you know that you're in alignment, what you got to fear? What are we fearing when we are demonstrating, speaking, but you've put out the energy and the frequency of love, and with that comes a protection, comes a divine protection. So if it as we're moving through what's happening right now, it's a spiritual thing. This is a spiritual warfare happening. This is not political. It is not political. It is spiritual. Love is spirit. Love is spiritual. Love is truth. So all of the that's happening when you're moving in love and passing on the frequency of love, yeah, there's that protection piece where you get to ride in and ride on and rest on the knowledge that you are protected through love, protected by love. And that's liberating. I think the reason why things are getting so chaotic is not that person sitting over there. They are just the symptom. He is not the reason. He's the symptom. He's the tell. He's the manifestation of good rising up. When you have people starting to wake up and being like, "Oh no," then in kind you have to have the enemy fighting harder. What we're seeing is the enemy fighting harder because it is known that we are changed. More and more people are like, no, no, I'm not with that. You got folks who are diehard on team negativity and team evil who are like, I retire. I don't want to, I can't play that game. I'm not playing that game. No, I'm done. Right? You have people who you're seeing it a lot because people are waking up and they're not putting up with it. You have people talking across the aisle now. You have people, and I happen to be seated in a position where I have a front row seat to a lot of the political and legal ways that people are like, nope, 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 no more. And so, yeah, it looks scary. But even the fact that it looks scary is by design. We're supposed to be afraid of each other. That's part of the gig. But if you think about the day, your average day, you go to the store, you go grocery shopping, you go to the gym, you go all these different places, and you don't experience the evil that they say we should be afraid of everybody. You're not seeing that in real life. You're seeing it on TV. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. I do not think that it is bad as they say in terms of how we are as a people, how we are doing collectively. We're stressed out because we were reacting to what they want us to react to. We're not stressed out by what we're dealing with in everyday life. I mean, there's usual stressors of being human, yeah. But the real stress we feel and the real like, oh, it doesn't come from the people you meet at the store and the people that you at the gym with and the people that you see on the street at the stoplight. It comes from what they are pumping into you to make you think it is not that bad. People are so paralyzed that I just don't think that it's as bad as we think. I think we're going to be okay, but to get to the part where we're okay, it starts with the belief. It starts with a reality check that we get to say if we're okay. We get to collectively determine if we're okay. It is not about them. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. And the only reason I can even stand here and say that is because I decided to choose love in everything I do. I'm sitting here, I'm loving on my ex, and, reached out. His attorney reached out today, I think. Well, my attorney told me today that he's just like, let's call it. Let's call it. We don't want to drag this on. I don't want to drag it on. I've made peace with selling and splitting and moving on and doing something different. I've made peace with the season of me being in this house just might be over, and I'm okay with that. May or may not. I do not know. Man, God has been just on some extra. I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to know what's going to happen because the pivots and the openings and the miraculous, where did that come from? It keeps happening. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm at peace with it. Because now that I'm thinking that I might sell the house, I'm thinking, oh, I can literally live anywhere in the world right now. Huh. And depending on how much, we sell and split and all of that, it's wide open. So maybe that's my next journey. But the minute I get hyper focused on things looking away and it has to feel good and everything has to be comfortable and everything has to, that's when I get lost. That's when I get overwhelmed. So I want to say to y'all, you know, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, but that's the point. We don't know what's going to happen, so you might as well play the game of life. Play the game of life. I'm working on something that I kind of put aside um a couple years ago, or when this person got elected, just thinking I better just go the safe route and do all the stuff around conflict. But let me be clear, I don't want to traffic in conflict my whole life. Yes, I'm good at it because I have a different kind of perspective that helps me see things a little differently. And that's a gift. But I don't want to I don't want when people see me walking through the door, their energy, their anxiety spikes. And that's what happens when I walk into a room. I walk into a room, there's two people that are in conflict. I walk in and you can feel the thickness of the room. I don't want that to be my everyday life or how I make my money. I want people to see me walk in a room and go, oof, okay, now peace. Oh, we're going to, some people do feel that, I suppose, but I don't want to symbolize chaos or conflict or or anxiety. I want people to see me and immediately think, whew, I'm going to breathe for a minute. I'm going to rest for a minute. I'm going to be comforted. I'm going to have peace. I'm going to be able to tap into my highest self while I'm in her presence. I'm going to be able to see things I didn't see while I'm in her presence. I'm going to be able to find love in those things that I don't necessarily feel readily. So, my point one, start getting synced up with what you want to do and what you're supposed to be doing here. I can tell you what it's not. I can tell you you're not supposed to be waking up in the morning going, oh, not this again. Not this job again. Not this person again. Not this relationship again. Not this pain again. Not this abuse again. Not this lack and figuring out where I'm going to have to pay my bills again. That's not why we're here. So then what is the new conversation you want to have? Why are you here? Why are you here? And if that thing that you know that you're here to do inspires love, grace, compassion, hurry up. Hurry up and do it because we need all of that. And it could be anything. I had the woman who did the inspection or the evaluation appraisal for my house. She's in her gift. I'm talking about you, Lori. Low. I'm talking about you, Low. She's in her gift. She came over here to appraise my house. And I got a friend for life out of that one. She's amazing, right? I felt encouraged about my divorce. In that moment, I felt better. Find your purpose. Do it. Make this world better. 2, be unafraid. Sorry, y'all, my phone. Be unafraid. Don't be afraid. Get on your purpose. Operate in love. Make somebody else's life better and see what happens. We can sit here and watch and be a bunch of describers. This is what's happening. That's what's happening. Or we can be some changers. We can do something that makes it better. And what is that going to be? And finally, trust. Trust the divine. Have faith. Have faith. We don't know what's going to happen. So what that means is you don't know what's going to happen. Live, have faith, and trust in God. Trust in the universe. Trust in this divine place that we live, this energy field that we get to operate in. And that's it, y'all. Don't knock over my candle. Bye. Hey everyone, I hope that you enjoyed and got value out of today's episode. If you did, please like, subscribe, do all the things you know to do on the socials, and I'll see you next time.